I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but I need to get it off my chest. My name is Michael, and 6 months ago, I discovered that my girlfriend of 3 years, Olivia, was sleeping with my younger brother Jake whenever he stayed at our apartment. The discovery shattered my world and forced me to question everything I thought I knew about the people closest to me. Olivia and I met at a tech conference in Seattle. I was presenting a new software my company had developed, and she was there representing her marketing firm. Our eyes met across the crowded exhibition hall, and by the end of the day, we'd exchanged numbers. 3 weeks later, we were officially dating. Everything moved quickly after that. Within a year, Olivia had moved into my apartment in downtown Seattle. She was beautiful, intelligent, and ambitious, everything I thought I wanted in a partner. Her charisma was infectious, and everyone in my life adored her, especially my family. My younger brother Jake is 5 years younger than me, just finishing up his final year of college. Since our parents moved to Florida for retirement, Jake would often stay at our place when he visited Seattle on weekends or during breaks. I was happy to provide him with a place to crash. He was my only sibling, and despite the age gap, we'd always been close. Olivia was particularly welcoming to Jake. She'd cook his favorite meals, help him with his college assignments, and generally make him feel at home. I was grateful for how well they got along. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have a girlfriend who embraced my family as her own. "Your brother is such a sweetheart," she'd tell me. "I'm so glad you two are close." If only I'd known what was happening right under my nose. Looking back, there were signs, subtle at first, then increasingly obvious, but love has a way of blinding you to what's right in front of you. The first hint came about a year into our relationship. Jake had stayed over for the weekend because he had a job interview in the city on Monday. I noticed that Olivia seemed to dress more carefully when she knew Jake would be around, wearing her favorite perfume, the one she typically saved for our date nights. Then there were the inside jokes they shared, the quick glances, the way their conversations would sometimes stop abruptly when I entered the room. I dismissed it all as them developing a sibling-like bond. About 6 months before everything fell apart, I had to go on an unexpected business trip. I called Olivia from the airport to let her know I'd be away for 3 days. "Don't worry about being alone," I told her. "I can ask Jake to keep you company if you want." "That would be nice," she replied a little too quickly. "I mean, if it's not too much trouble for him." I thought nothing of it at the time. I was happy they got along so well. When I returned from my trip, I noticed that Jake had apparently slept in our guest room. There were rumpled sheets and a towel on the floor. But strangely, the guest room bathroom was completely dry and unused. I assumed Jake had used our main bathroom instead and didn't think much of it. Olivia seemed different after that trip, distracted, sometimes nervous when her phone chimed with text notifications. She started password protecting all her devices, something she'd never done before. "Just being security conscious," she explained when I asked about it. There was a presentation at work about digital privacy. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? The discovery happened on a Thursday evening in October. Jake was staying with us because he had a job fair to attend on Friday. I had come home early from work, exhausted after a difficult meeting with clients. Olivia didn't expect me home until much later. She texted earlier saying she'd be working late herself, so I should grab dinner on my own. I decided to order pizza and surprise her by having dinner ready when she got home. To my surprise, when I entered our apartment, I heard the shower running. Assuming Olivia had come home early too, I called out to her, but there was no response over the sound of the water. I noticed her tablet on the coffee table. She must have forgotten to take it with her to the bathroom. I picked it up, thinking I'd check the local pizza place's menu. The screen lit up, already unlocked. That's when I saw it. The tablet opened directly to her messages. At the top of the screen was a conversation with Jake. My heart dropped as I scrolled through their exchange. "Jake, last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." "Olivia, Mike's working late tomorrow too. Come over around 7. Jake, same arrangement as usual. I'll tell him I'm in town for a job thing." Olivia, "Yes, don't forget to mess up the guest bed this time. He almost noticed last time." I felt physically ill as I continued scrolling up through months of messages. Photos, details of their encounters, plans made behind my back. Every time Jake had stayed over for the past 8 months, They had been sleeping together in my bed while I was working late or away on business. The shower turned off. I heard movement in the bathroom. I sat there, tablet in hand, my whole world collapsing around me. Minutes later, Jake walked out of our bathroom, a towel wrapped around his waist. He froze when he saw me sitting there. "Mike, you're home early," he stammered, his face draining of color. I held up the tablet wordlessly, the blood drained from his face. "I can explain," he started, but I cut him off. "Where's Olivia?" My voice sounded strange, detached, as if it belonged to someone else. She's picking up dinner," Jake replied, his voice barely audible. I nodded slowly, still strangely calm. "How long?" Jake looked at the floor. 8 months. 8 months, over 240 days of lies, nearly 70 nights of betrayal under my own roof. I asked Jake to get dressed and leave. Surprisingly, I didn't yell or become violent. I was too numb, too shocked. He tried to apologize, tears in his eyes, but I couldn't bear to look at him. "We need to talk about this, Mike." "I'm so sorry." "Not now," I interrupted. "Just go, I need to talk to Olivia first." After Jake left, I sat in silence, waiting. I didn't cry, I didn't rage. I just sat there with the evidence of their betrayal, reading message after message until Olivia came home. She walked in carrying Chinese takeout, humming softly. She stopped when she saw me sitting there in the dark living room. "Mike, what are you doing home, and why are you sitting in the dark?" She flipped on the light switch, then noticed her tablet in my hands. Her face changed instantly, fear, guilt, then a calculated neutrality. "What's going on?" she asked cautiously. I turned the tablet toward her, displaying the messages. "You tell me." She stood frozen for a moment, then set down the takeout bags. Unlike Jake, she didn't immediately apologize or break down. Instead, she sighed and sat down across from me. "I guess there's no point denying it now," she said quietly. "Why?" I asked. It was the only question that mattered to me in that moment. "Why him? Why my brother?" She looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "It just happened. The first time was when you were in Chicago for that conference. We were both drinking, watching a movie while waiting for you to call. One thing led to another. And then you just decided to keep doing it, behind my back, in our bed." My voice was rising now, the numbness giving way to anger. "I don't know what to say, Mike. I didn't plan for it to happen or continue. But there was something there, a connection. I laughed bitterly. With my brother, the person who's supposed to have my back, the person I trusted most after you." "I'm sorry," she finally said, tears forming in her eyes. "I know that doesn't fix anything, but I am sorry we hurt you." "We," I repeated. "You're still thinking of yourselves as a unit, as a we. That tells me everything I need to know." That night, I packed a bag and checked into a hotel. I couldn't bear to sleep in that apartment, in that bed. I called in sick to work the next day and spent it mostly staring at the ceiling, trying to process what had happened. Jake called 14 times. I didn't answer. Olivia sent dozens of texts ranging from apologetic to defensive to pleading. I read them all but responded to none. On the third day, I returned to the apartment while I knew Olivia would be at work. I packed more of my belongings and left my key on the counter. I had already contacted the landlord. Olivia could take over the lease or move out. I didn't care which. The hardest part was telling my parents. I drove to their home in Florida the following weekend, needing to tell them in person. My mother knew something was wrong the moment she saw my face. "Michael, what's happened?" she asked as she hugged me at the door. I told them everything over dinner. My mother cried. My father sat in stunned silence before asking if I was absolutely certain. When I showed them some of the messages, my father put his head in his hands. "Jake did this." He whispered, as if saying it aloud made it more real. "Our Jake." The pain in his voice mirrored my own. It wasn't just my relationship with Olivia that had been destroyed. It was my relationship with my brother, and in some ways, the fabric of our entire family. Jake had always been the golden child, charming, athletic, popular. I had been proud of him, protective of him. Now I couldn't even bear to hear his name without feeling physically sick. My parents tried to arrange a family meeting to work things out. I refused. Some betrayals cut too deep for reconciliation, at least in the near term. It's been 6 months since that night. I've moved to a new apartment in a different part of the city. I've thrown myself into my work, earning a promotion that I should feel more excited about than I do. According to mutual friends, Olivia moved out of our old apartment a month after I left. I don't know if she and Jake are still together. I've blocked them both on every platform and asked my friends not to give me updates. My parents still hope for reconciliation someday. My mother calls weekly, careful not to mention Jake directly but occasionally slipping in that everyone misses you or the family isn't the same without you. I know it's hard on them, being caught between their two sons, but I'm not ready to forgive. I'm not sure I ever will be. The hardest part isn't the loss of Olivia. As painful as it was, I've come to realize our relationship had problems long before her affair with Jake. The real loss is my brother, the person who was supposed to be in my corner for life, who I trusted without reservation. I've started seeing a therapist, trying to work through the anger and betrayal. Some days are better than others. On good days, I can go hours without thinking about them. On bad days, I still find myself scrolling through old photos, looking for signs I missed, wondering if there was something I could have done differently. If there's anything I've taken from this experience, it's that you never truly know someone. The people you trust most implicitly are often the ones with the greatest capacity to hurt you, precisely because you've given them that power. I've also learned that healing isn't linear. There are days when I feel like I've moved on, and days when the pain feels as fresh as it did that night in October. To anyone reading this who's experienced a similar betrayal, I won't offer platitudes about time healing all wounds or finding someone better. The truth is, a betrayal like this changes you fundamentally. You don't get over it, you just learn to carry it differently. What I will say is this: protect yourself. Set boundaries, and most importantly, trust your instincts. Deep down, I knew something was off long before I found those messages. I just didn't want to believe it. As for me, I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm not dating again yet. The thought of trusting someone that completely still feels impossible, but I'm surviving. And someday, perhaps that will be enough. For now, that has to be enough.